All right. Yeah, don't people, particularly spirit, this was more common like 50, 60, 70 years ago, but spiritual students make themselves really neurotic on this topic, and it's just like, just fucking relax, like do your thing.
Thanks, brother.
You're welcome. All right. That's it? No more questions? Did Oh, Spencer, you're being very naughty. I saw that. I see what you did there. um did we lose what's his name? The Woods Yogi? Yogi, come back. Okay, Spencer. Let's end with Spencer. Hello.
Oh, did you lose me?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, cool. Do you want to see me? I'm not sure how to.
Is there more to that?
I can't hit the video button, so you can just bear with.
Are you still in Thailand?
Yeah, I'm sitting here. It's like 4 a.m. here. I think I got the video going. If you can see me, but
is everyone all COVIDed out in Thailand also?
Yeah, it went like totally bonkers. Like right about same time as the States, and then like I can't speak politically depending on where my voice is going, but it's like it's a strange system over here, but it's like every decree they make, like countrywide, they'll rescind it like a day or two later. So
that sounds like here.
Yeah, I'm vaguely keeping up with the States, but it's enough with here where it's like they entirely banned alcohol sales, and then like a day and a half later, like said, okay, you have a 2-day window to get it, and so there's just like madness of all these like crazy lines, yeah, for sure. And so
I myself stocked up on Thai beer only yesterday.
What Thai beer question? Oh, for sure, yeah. There's
I like Chang. I like Chang better though. So
maybe the imported Chang is a bit safer for the brain, but so the rumor goes is apparently back in the day it was so unregulated that there was like trace elements of formaldehyde and whatnot, and so people would from the old expat crew, apparently like one Chang would send someone to the Astral, and the other guy would be sitting next to him just hanging out at the strip club or something. So so watch the Chang when you come to visit. But,
do they have do they still is Yaba a thing in Thailand?
I've heard the rumors of the Yaba, but haven't quite asked the taxi driver.
I heard that it's like meth cooked with caffeine pills or something like that. Maybe I shouldn't talk about that because you're over there. But
well, I'm in the kitchen safely, so I have to jump. But
hopefully you have a VPN. I don't know. But everyone's on lockdown or whatever.
Yeah, they're just starting to lift it like the past week or two, but it's totally insane because it's like they have kept canceling international flights, so nobody's allowed to come in. I'm on a call right now. I'm on the call right now. Sorry, I'm on the call right now with the class. Yeah. Sorry, the girlfriend's in the other room, but so they've been canceling the international flights just right at the tip of every month, so nobody can get in, nobody can come out, and so from the outside that sounds totally insane, but according to the records, like the past couple of days, it's been like 0 infected, 0 deaths, and so it's a trip because I'm kind of sitting here, and according to the record, like I go outside and people are shopping, people are having to survive, and like we've talked, I mean months ago, but from being over in the side of the world, it's a trip because the standard of life, like people have to literally go outside to sell food and stuff. Like it's like literally a livelihood for so many people. Like even in in a massive metropolis, like it's a you have some element back home, but it's so totally different. And so when I was just locked in for weeks, being like, this is it. Like the beer sales, like it's literally apocalypse. And then when it's kind of a trip for a week or two, and then you go out and it's like, no, like people, but they have curfew. So for a city that literally doesn't go to sleep, it's been a curfew like 10 to 4. So it's like 4 right now, and you immediately hear all the traffic going.
Crazy.
7-Eleven, you know, is every corner, and it's normally 24 hours, and they close 7-Eleven. But other than that, it's weird because you see, I mean, I'm from, you know, like Irvine in California, and it seems like we're doing pretty okay. Like people are alive when I talk to my family and stuff. But,
in California?
Yeah, I vaguely keep up.
Yeah.
But
yeah, California is fine. I mean, LA is crazy, but it's not New York. New York is, you know, from what but California is doing pretty well. I mean, you know, and outside of LA, there's certain parts of LA that, like Long Beach was hit particularly bad. But outside of that, California's done pretty well. I mean, it's you know, like people are out, but there's no curfew. But you know, they just keep changing. They keep changing the rules, and they keep saying like they keep extending the lockdown. And now you have to have a mask by law in LA, and you know it just changes. It's such, I don't know. I'm in my own world, so
yeah, I can relate.
Yeah,
arrive at 4 a.m. for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, like in
a lot of
terms
Call of Duty around here.
Yeah, for sure. I've gosh, it's funny what you were reading at the beginning. I haven't read Evola. You know, it's a bit for me at the moment, but I'm just watching 300 that's for the first time on the other end. So it's like, you know, it's the irony of that. Yeah, I thought, that was quite
that's
poignant halfway through 300.
Yeah, so. 300 is like Evola, like the Freebase Street version of Evola.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Evola is like the Yaba of esotericism, also.
Yeah. No, should I field a question, or should I spare you of that? Yeah, for sure.
And then I'm done. But yeah.
Okay, I'll keep it brief enough because you know, I took your I Ching course a few months back and finally picked that up after like mid-adept initiative. Found like the one brand new copy they had of like the Wilhelm version at like the one decent bookstore here, and it's like the massively overpriced paperback. But because like I tried to do, there's that website with everything that like the clickable hexagrams, and it's like it's manageable if someone were to pick that up, but it just was way too tedious. So I just was wondering, it's like you've covered all that so thoroughly in that course, but here's a massively, you know, brief question for you. Like, how could you summarize a bit more of your experience with that in terms of, I feel like, you know, all of the research I read about personal experience from the kind of the general names in it, it's everyone speaks of it as being so immediate and so clear and so poignantly specific. And I'm finding working with that text that, you know, I like immediately will of course meditate on it more, like sit on it more, just kind of sit back and read a bit slower with some of the descriptions. But I'm finding that, just how to field questions better for it. It seems like it's very temporal. And I've started taking, Lon Duquette is doing like a new tarot course, and he's, you know, provided like a lot of specific charts about the temporal, like the quantitative, about how every card has a certain date, really, like of the yearly calendar. And I'm kind of thinking about how to better field the questions when I approach that. Is it more
like, are you're trying to get more specific information out of it?
Yeah, I feel like I started with more kind of like open-ended questions, as you do with the divination system at first, you know, and then as I kind of was peering into it more and more, it's like I get the value of getting more particular and specific, and there's so many hexagrams that refer specifically to months and dates and environmental qualities. But but when I read the actual interpretation, so my other question for you too, outside of just your personal experience in the years hence of that course, is also if there's any other texts. I know you recommended the one that was like the Uranus Foundation, which is like a literal word for word thing, but that one, okay. This is interesting. So in terms of getting more granular information out of the I Ching, I don't know.
You probably can. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. I'm sure you can, but I literally don't know, and it's a fascinating question. And yeah, you can. There's stuff you can do all kinds of stuff with tarot to get. You can do crazy stuff with tarot. Like for instance, you can throw, you can add up the letters, the Hebrew letters or the major arcana, and get words out of it. You can do all kinds of stuff with tarot. With I Ching, I don't know, but I'm sure there is a way. Is there a way that's been translated into English? I don't know. I think that probably, because you got to realize the state of the general state of I Ching scholarship as well. It's like the Wilhelm translation was what, the 30s or the 20s whenever it was written, and it's like super Christianized. It's filtered through all these Christian ideas, and also the other thing is the I Ching itself was filtered, has all this Confucianism thrown into it, which is probably not native to the book in the first place. So it's kind of like the Bible where it's got all these layers on it, but when you peel it down, you probably get this very precise mathematical engine that you could probably do just about anything with. But I don't know. There is a book that I saw at one point called, and I haven't read it, so I don't know for sure, but it looks fascinating. It's called The Inner Structure of the I Ching by Lama Govinda, Govinda. Inner Structure of the I Ching. That might be useful, but I haven't read it, and it's from the early 80s, and I think it was only done in small print runs. But
I got the PDF that you posted in the initiative course, I think. I just scanned it because it's like I'm just sitting with the Wilhelm, and so and it's a PDF
I did not
too.
Post that. I did not post that.
Oh, so. Well, then I did my,
you must have found it.
My non-VPN PDF hunting here, but it was densely chart based. Like it was a lot of visual graphs, and so I guess for me, it's like coming from more, a poeticized, vaguely like romanticizing that reading and like lacking the mathematical skill to actually grip with a lot of that. Totally. Like literally personally lacking that skill. And so trying to read into it as a functional text that seems very temporal.
No, it's a great question. So, I would love to know. Yeah. I would fucking love to know the answer to that. I really would. That sounds
okay. We'll be hanging out.
Right?
Then.
I just don't know. Like, and maybe if anyone on the call knows or has leads, that'd be a good Magic.me project. Please. Maybe if somebody wants to float that on the Discord, like just to hunt for information about that. Or if you're on the Discord, if you want to float that will be super useful, because it must be possible. I mean, you got like Terence McKenna, obviously, and his brother Terence and Dennis McKenna did all this mathematical analysis of the I Ching, but they did it and they got this freaking time wave zero thing out of it, which is like, okay, hippie, like what is this? It was cool. It made sense in the 90s. What can I say? But in retrospect, it's like, anyways. But there's absolutely, the I Ching has fascinated mathematicians for decades. I mean, there's a whole John Cage album based on the I Ching. You know that, right?
I've never listened to that one.
Yeah, John Cage.
Be sure to lay on the floor after this. Yeah.
You know John Cage.
Well, I was thinking that the 433.
Right.
Pretty
that club banger for
yeah.
So
that was for you,
John Cage, I forget what I think it's just called Book of Changes or something like that. John Cage in the 50s did an entire experimental album about the I Ching, using the I Ching to generate the next notes. So the I Ching actually generated the music. And another great example is The Man in the High Castle, right, was used, but like about that, right? Philip K. Dick used the I Ching to write the book. Like every time, anytime he wanted to figure out the next plot point, he just asked the I Ching, and the I Ching wrote the book, and the book is about the I Ching warping reality. So it's fascinating, and I think there's other examples of that. So, but yeah, I would love to know the answer. I honestly, I don't know. I would love to know that.
No, for sure. It's even just trying to find more people to just bounce that just I Ching in general with. It's like it's weird. You think being over here. Okay, for sure. I need to get back on there for sure.
Tell them I sent you, and it should be there should be like a special like if people just want to maybe if people want to hunt for books for any more specific information, totally. And if people find. Maybe I can post that. What I'll say is if the Discord wants to do a project where they look for that stuff, I can post a blog. I can post it to the blog. Whatever you guys find, I can post it to the blog, and I'll credit whoever found each one.
Cool, so. That's awesome. There's one website I'll find it and I can throw it up there, but it's like a very dense bibliography of like every supposed like I Ching text from 70s onwards, and so it's like a good base if you can actually find them, because then that's the other thing. Because there's like the Kinokuniya, it's like the Japanese like Barnes and Nobles they have here, and there's a whole chunk of a wall. It's so ironic. Like the last time I was at the bookstore buying that, I saw a bunch of Thai people looking at all the tarot cards. It's like they love the tarot over here.
Oh,
it's
really?
ironic. Yeah, there's a big Ganesh shrine just down the street, and there's a bunch of tarot card readers just lined up all over.
Maybe
they're all like hanging out.
Maybe you can help me market Magic.me in Thailand. That would be hilarious.
Oh, for sure. Throw some ideas, and I'll slip them a business card.
Maybe like a flyer. Can you put a flyer at the bookstore or something? Like something really simple.
Oh yeah, I could definitely.
You just write it. You can hand make it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have flyers. I guess maybe I should. But but no, that's a very worthwhile project. I mean, like that's something that's worth everyone's time in terms of finding that out. I mean, that's a very fruitful line of inquiry. Can the I Ching be more, is there information on making the I Ching more specific, and rather than just kind of like vague stuff? And I would guess that particularly if you go back to the original Chinese text, you can use that Uranus, or whatever. I mean, it's probably probably the translation that we have is just like, it's probably like totally different, whatever the original is. And this is, by the way, this became a point of fascination. One of the strangest individuals in Thelemic history was named C.F. Russell, Fratergenus, who was one of Crowley's students, and is a bizarre individual. He was obsessed with the inner mathematical structure of the I Ching, and he wrote a book called Snooze's Sneeze. I'll type it.
I need a spell check. So I can.
It's possibly the most
hunt the PDF.
You can't actually. It is literally the most obscure occult book ever written. Snooze's Sneeze.
Fine.
It's a 2-volume set that is just about the inner structure of the I Ching, and he was able to turn the I Ching into like a cube, with the Chinese characters. Like he studied with Crowley, and then afterwards, like the only things he was interested in were Chinese, the I Ching, and having gay sex orgies in San Diego in the 1950s. And that he started a group called the Karanzan Club. That was
Sounds
the whole
right.
thing. Yeah. So there you go. Strange individuals from magical history.
Oh, well, maybe we'll wind up there on the Discord.
So maybe that would be worth looking at. But like literally everything that I've read of his just looks like schizophrenic. It doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like it's of the same quality of like somebody writing a very long, very dense handwritten note about how lasers are being beamed into their head by the government. It's kind of the same quality. But
I've got the time.
There you go. But yeah, this project. This tends to be like where this is kind of like the holy grail of occultism in a way. It's like you notice even with people like Crowley, like by the end of their life, they literally didn't care about anything except the I Ching.
Yeah,
it's like they didn't care about anything. They're like that was their thing. Fascinatingly enough, and Chinese and China is like the holy. So there you have it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm super interested to find out what people discover.
Please, even just like opening up more, because it's the tarot far and wide, minimal, maximal is all accessible. And in terms of I Ching, given how like Christianized and translated, we're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Or how incredibly stripped down like that other book. It's like
the last thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing Crowley was working on before he died was mapping the hexagrams to the tarot, and that's in 777.
Okay,
his original initial work. But like he said, like literally Crowley said, like one of the last things he said was like, it's like if I had another 200 years to live, I would spend it exclusively researching the I Ching. So, but yeah, you can map the hexagrams to the tarot cards. So that's helpful, but that's that's artificial. So.
Yeah, totally. I mean, working specifically just with that, it's like I figured I'll let you go, but as a vague kind of description, like it seems tarot is very quantitative, very more like on a vaguely emotional level, and with the I Ching, there's something very qualitative,
temporal
temporal to it. but that's flying over my head when I actually read
Quantitative.
this.
We just invented a new discipline, quantitative divination. That sounds very slick, doesn't it? Quantitative
Pass the
I Ching.
cards.
You should create a quantitative I Ching thread on or room if you want. Maybe ask a mod to create a quantitative I Ching room on the Discord.
Cool. Please.
Or email me if they can't email me, and I'll do it.
Right, for sure. I'll harass the Discord. Yeah.
And then I'll end up tell people if there's fruitful stuff, I can present it on the blog and credit people.
Awesome.
That'll be good.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Glad you're doing well. All right, everyone. It's now been 2.5 hours, so it's time for me to take a break. I will see you all in 2 weeks. We are doing every 2 weeks for office hours. Apologies for a bit of confusion about that last weekend, but just to clarify, it will be 2 weeks from now. And stay tuned. I am editing. There should be a podcast out in the next few days. And then there will be a secret announcement, big announcement, very shortly. I will say no more than that, other than stay tuned to your email and podcasts. All right. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.